So, good afternoon, this is the BMW R1300RT. This is a triple black edition. Nice and new actually, that Bahnstormer at Alton have let me borrow while my 1250RT is in for a service. I'll let you have some initial thoughts in this video. This, as you might notice, is the automatic version, the ASA version.
The other thing is the foam pouch here on the tank appears to be vented. There's a couple of vents at the top, but it's not got wireless charging anyway. It has a USB-C connector, so you'd need to put a little short USB-C cable in there to be able to actually use it. Which is a little bit awkward because you have to buy the really short ones, otherwise you haven't got enough room, and obviously it'll have to be sufficiently short so as not to get in the way of everything anyway. I don't like the way it changes gear on a roundabout, to be fair. Let's change it back to manual for a bit, shall we? There we go. And then you use the gear shift in the normal way, which gives you more control over the gear shifting. Puts you more in control, I think. So these side flaps, that's the normal way, letting all the wind through. That, in that position, gives you more shelter, and I can feel now heat going onto my knee from the engine. So, as we found when we did the Euro trip the other year, the amount of heat we were getting, we couldn't get rid of it. We couldn't get airflow onto our bodies because the 1250RT fairing was so impressive. But with these, you can have them in the normal position and get a little bit of respite. You get more airflow onto your knees. Downside is having them in that up position is that that does look a bit like there's a missing panel. It's not very nicely finished off, and especially as it's got a slightly how should you put it, a slightly crinkly effect. It does look like it's caught or bent or something, or not open properly, which again doesn't look very premium on a bike of this cost. I think I'm now going to have to turn off the heated seats a bit because they're a little bit much. Oh, and then press down for the seat to go off. There we go. And you're back into that position. Press it again so we can do the windscreen. So, I say I've been quite impressed by the bike. The riding position is more sporty, definitely. I've got it in dynamic at the moment. Yesterday I had tried it in both road and rain, and yeah, it still felt quite lightweight. This is more on the sports side of sports touring. whereas the 1250 RT is more on the touring side of sports touring. Seating position is fine, and on the short journeys that I've been on, there've only been these two, which is only about half an hour, the seat is plenty comfortable, but I have seen a lot of complaints that after a few hours it's not as comfy as the 1250. Certainly the pegs are higher, which I know would encourage slightly more hooligan riding, which is obviously a good thing. But again, for those of us in need of a knee operation, I've got a partial knee replacement due soon. For those of us with dodgy knees, that's going to be a bit wearing, and I can already, you know, even with a pair of jeans, you can feel the material bunching up behind your knee. So perhaps not quite as comfortable and accommodating as a 1250 RT for a longer journey. Also slightly concerned about the hand protection, because it's a smaller, lower fairing and slimmer. The fairing itself doesn't come out wider, so you've got these mirror housings which also have the indicators, and then you've got that little fairing above. So I'm hoping that that would do the same sort of job as the 1250 fairing. And certainly yesterday I didn't get wet hands. I was wearing my race gloves yesterday, that's slightly warmer than these, because I wasn't sure what bike they were going to lend me. So knowing that it's warmer today, 14 degrees rather than about 8 or 9 yesterday, I've gone back to my summer gloves, which are waterproof, but obviously not quite as warm as these again are, I say, summer gloves. But again, the BMW is quite nice in that it does look after you. Oh, I see, you don't have to press it. I see, that's handy. I thought you had to press the hamburger button to get it to go live. I see, that's slightly better than, isn't it? Oh, forgot to change down because I'm back in manual. Wonder why the gears weren't changing. So yes, you can snick through the gears really easily in manual, and it does work quite nicely. And for me, the fact that there's no clutch lever to get in the bloody way all the time, with my missing fingers, there's nothing to straighten the gloves out when you want to reach up and do something. The glove just stays wherever it's deciding to go, and that's what gets trucked. That's why I have shorty levers on the 1250. So for me, having a bike without a clutch lever at all makes sense. And I've got to say, I've got a mate who's lost the use of his left arm in a bike crash. Young Birchie, Pete Birch, he's got a lovely MV Augusta with some form of automatic gearbox, and that's how he gets over it. So there are ways around it. It's just trying to work out what's best and what's easiest and most cost effective, I suppose. Plus, I don't really want to modify a bike and then have to undo all the modifications when it comes to selling it later. Although I do tend to keep my bikes for a while. So the question is, would I pay the extra for the ASA? And I think, all things considered, I probably would. I'm changing now to dynamic, and we'll hear it blip the throttle, I think, when I come to changing down. So we're now down quite low revs, and it's changed down, snicked down to 5th, 4th, 3rd with a little blip of throttle. Be interesting to see what it's like for a quick blip to go past. Let's go. So it stayed in 3rd. Now it's worked out it wants to go to 4th and 5th. So it gets a bit confused. Whacking it down a bit and then whacking it on again. See, I'd have expected it to change down a gear then. Let's go down to 40 and it's already changed to 5th. Yeah, not necessarily what you'd expect. But yes, would I buy a bike with ASA? Not for road use, I don't think, but for touring I think it would actually be quite beneficial. Especially as it does seem to be quite a good system. Okay, let's try not to get taken out by that bike. Let's wander in there. What I haven't worked out is how to get it into neutral. So if I snick up now, that goes to 2. If I put it in manual, what happens? No, it goes to 2. So no, I can't work out how to get into manual, into neutral. Let's just stop the engine.